Welcome back to another edition of Baldwin and Creech, Gentlemen of Style. I'm Baldwin.
And I'm Creech. Today we got a treat for you guys. As we told you before, what we wanted to do is make sure that we brought you some different people so that you can see some different styles and have some different conversation. So today what we want to do is bring you a special guest. And I call him special because he's a guy that can bring the funny. He's a guy that can tell you some things that go on in regular life. He's a guy that's genuinely a genuine guy.
The entry level is, first of all, people listen to us, we get an audience. Like, for instance, like with me, I use a lot of my kids in my platform because I have 3 kids. They're in another city. I go see them every other weekend. So what I do is I educate fathers a lot to say, hey, you know what, you one step away from being a good father. It's just a matter of taking yourself out of the equation and putting the kids inside of it. So like you said, taking that time to use that platform and saying, hey, you know what, we got them laughing, entertained, but educate at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So we'd like to welcome today Khai Morgan.
It's good to be amongst the people that the same height as me. It's a little too tall, but I'm still gonna rock with it anyway.
I'll tell you about that later, but anyway.
I mean, you gotta have a step ladder or something for me to jump up here. This is a bit much.
You my height, so you gotta work it out like we do. You know, you gotta work it out like we do.
Special treats, special treats.
Yeah. Mr. Khai Morgan. Yeah. First of all, in case you guys who don't know Khai Morgan, something wrong with you, not us, it's you. Khai was just on TVone with Roland Martin. Unfortunately, Roland wasn't there that day, but hey,
it's okay. He took his place. He did a great job.
Roland might have been in child support court. I don't know. He wasn't there, so I had to step in and do what I had to do.
And you represented. All right, first of all, Khai, let's go on to tell people where you from, and let's give them a little background.
And I'm originally from Greensboro, North Carolina. Shouts out to 336, man.
Yeah.
That's me. That's what I represent all day, every day.
Yeah, 336.
I'm glad you put the fingers on right. I was scared. You almost hit the floor. You put it down in time.
So, with comedy, we talked a lot about style. So, how did you come about your style with comedy? Was there, how did you kind of make that maturation, being a young comic to where you are now?
Hold on, let me Google maturation. Now, like with me, honestly, man, it just really started from birth. Like with me, at 3 years old, I was wearing suits. You know what I'm saying? I was wearing suits to Easter Sunday. I grew up in a household where my father that raised me, he basically was a deacon of the church. His wife was a deaconess. So at the end of the day, we were always suited and booted. Like we always had a suit on, blazer. It might have been a one-piece snap in the middle, but at the end of the day, it was a suit. Yeah. So the reality was, as I got older, I realized that I didn't look like everybody else. Everybody else was wearing jeans. I was comfortable wearing a suit. So I started wearing these blazers, started wearing different colors, different things, and pocket squares and all that stuff. And honestly, a lot of things just transitioned. Like with me, when I was on Roland Martin said, look, you gotta have a pocket square. That was the first thing that was popular for the show. So I'm out at like 9 o'clock at night looking for a pocket square. First pocket square I started off with was the one that was a little piece of paper that was attached. Those were the words. You know what I'm saying? So I graduated to these right here, and it was just everything just came in line. I started realizing, okay, be suited, be booted. The thing is this: if one thing about this business is that people can't say, hey, he ain't fly. You know what I'm saying? Right. Even if he ain't funny, they can't say he ain't fly. So at the end of the day, I put the 2 and 2 together, and I just created my brand, and I became me.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So tell us, in your rise, first tell us, how long have you been doing comedy, period?
I've been doing comedy now for 11 years. What happened with me was that my first son died at birth. My first son's name was Khai. My oldest son that's living, his name is Morgan. So what happened was I was real busy in 2005. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I had 2 kids at the same time. I was going to the same doctor's appointment at the same time. I was doing a lot of stuff at the same time. So the reality was, Khai died on Valentine's Day. My oldest son Morgan was born in March. And throughout 2005, I dealt with a lot of different things. I went from two kids, 1 kid being born, 1 kid dying, getting married, then turning around after that, having another child that was born, that lived in my hand for 40 minutes and died. So with all those different things, it was like God's way of saying, you know what, I'm testing you. You know, people look at the 40 days and 40 nights, and I say, hey, you know what, God was giving me things to just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give my worst wars to someone that can really deal with it. And at that time, being 24, 25 years old, I didn't know I could deal with it. So 2006, I took that transition and I said, you know what, I was talking to God, and God, you know, people understand, you talk to God at the weirdest moments. I was talking to God, I was sitting there, I was drinking, and God was like, you need to be a comedian. And I was like, God, right now, I'm drinking. I don't know what you think I need to be, but at this moment, I'm drinking. You know, so I said, holler at me again. So you know how it is when you talk to God. God will keep on your back. He'll stay on your back, stay on your back, stay on your back. So a couple of days later, God came to me again. I was like, oh man, not you again. It was like a bill collector. It was like, God, why are you still calling me? I didn't answer the first time. Right. Now you calling again. So we talked about it, and God was just like, look, be to people what you needed people to be to you when you were going through what you were going through, which is a comedian. So I turned around in 2006, July, as a matter of fact. I stepped on the stage. I did a show at Comedy Zone in Greensboro, and then I put together my own show, and from there is history. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed seeing people laugh, because my thought process was, each and every individual that was laughing was probably going through something. And regardless of what they were going through, I was helping them get through it. So it was kind of like what God said was, be to other people what you needed God to be to you. So it was a blessing. So every time I'm on the stage, I just enjoy it. I enjoy it. Like I tell people all day long, if I make one person laugh in a room full of 1,000, I've done my job. Because that means that's that one person that took the place of me when I was going through what I was going through.
So what is your particular style of comedy? Or can I even ask that question, or is there not a particular style?
Nah, you can ask it. You interview me. I can't tell you what you... I don't have the opportunity to say, don't ask that question. As long as you don't ask about relationships, we're good. But my style of comedy... My style of comedy is really... I'm an improv person. I really like to be off the cuff. Like I tell people all day long, every person I know has some sort of a touch of the ADHD. I don't care who you are, everybody's got that. So with me, I'm the type of person that I love to freestyle. I love to come into a room, like right now, we're in this room, none of this was scripted. So anything that I'm saying to you just came off the dome.
We're never scripted, by the way.
Never, that's not...
They're never scripted, by the way.
I'll let you know.
So it's one of those things, like a lot of my material comes from now being able to talk about my family, being able to talk about my kids. My kids are my inspiration. Being able to talk about my love interest, you know, the person that's in my life at this moment. Being able to just adapt and embrace life, you know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest part of who Khai Morgan is now. Back in the day, I really strategically created my career off of watching people like D.L. Hughley. D.L. Hughley is my inspiration, because when I watch D.L. Hughley, he looks like me, he acts like me, and it's kind of cool, because like with him, he was one of those people that he was bullied a lot, and I was bullied a lot. So at the end of the day, I now am not worried about, you know, dealing with people that try to bully me. So when I'm on stage, it's like you come in and you on your phone, or you gonna get your business.
Well, you know, that raises another question that I was going to ask later, but since you brought that up, I'm gonna ask it now. Who is your favorite comedian?
D.L. Hughley is my favorite comedian.
I just want to say
Richard is the GOAT. I mean, all day long. I mean, if we ask the question from the standpoint of who's my favorite comedian deceased, I would say Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor paved the way for a lot of comedians. One thing about Richard Pryor, he was one of those comedians that he told his story, and a lot of people did not. A lot of people don't understand comedy is telling your story. When he talked about him being caught on fire, he lived it. You know, he was on fire. So, and that made it that much more reasonable. Like with me, when I'm on stage, I talk about how much I pay for child support. I talk about what I'm dealing with. I talk about having 3 kids by 3 different people. And it's my story, and I embrace it, you know. Whereas while people are laughing about it, at the end of the day, it's my therapy to help me get through it. And that's like with Richard. Richard helped himself get through some of those things by telling people his story. So when you ask who is the person living, D.L. Hewlett, because D.L. Hewlett is one of those people that, to me, he has been through a lot. You know, he talks about his kids. He talks about his marriage. He talks about political stuff. So it's like he gives you everything.
Well, you can hear the passion in his voice when he speaks. I mean, from politics to anything that he speaks about, I can hear it. You can hear it.
Right.
Because it translates through very clearly.
Yeah,
not to mention his style of his swagger is on another level. Like he does not come on stage like, oh, you know, he's a brand. Mm-hmm. When you see him, you expect a suit, you expect a hat, you expect glasses, you expect shoes. He gives you all of your expectations. So it's like you get the visual and the audio all at the same. Right. So it's definitely a mentor in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've always liked DL for his realness. I don't care what may be politically correct. It doesn't matter to him. How he feels, that's what he's going to talk about. That's what he's going to say. Whatever the repercussions are, he'll deal with it. So that's a great thing about him. And some comics, you know, they slide. They kind of fade away from doing too much. You know, they'll talk about it a little bit, and then somebody say something to them about it. They kind of, I'm gonna take that out of my act. You try that with D.L. Hewlett, it ain't happening. So,
right.
Exactly.
So
go ahead. Oh, good.
No, I was just going to ask. You know, when you look at the younger comics coming up, or some that I don't know if you mentor or anything like that, but when you look at those guys coming up, what is it that you kind of try to project to them and say, hey, you know, this is what this thing really is. So is there a message that you normally try to convey to them, or how does that work with it? Because, you know, you've been in the game for a while, so you got an OG now. So these younger guys coming up, they see you, they want to get on the show, they want to, you know, come in and put in work. You know, what do you normally tell them?
It's a good question. The thing with me, like for instance, my son is in the comedy business now. He's 12 years old. And the thing with my son is that he's watched, you know, because the thing with my son is, you know, there was times where I didn't have babysitters, or there were times that, hey, he just wanted to tag along. He did not want to go wherever it was that the destination was to go. So he's watched me do what I do. You know, he's seen the TV ones. He's seen me be on this episode or this interview or this and that. So the thing is this, what I tell him is the same thing I tell these new up-and-coming comics. Stay humble. Don't put God first. As long as you put God first and you say, God, look, just this is, you created this talent. Whatever it is you want me to do with this talent, tell me. Let me know. And the thing is, a lot of comics, it's just like anything in life. We'll ask God to bless us to get the job interview, but then once we get the job, we don't know where God is at. And the thing is this, when you put God first, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I tell my son, and I tell any up-and-coming comic. I tell a lot of, like just for instance, we were on TVone, and the people that were on TVone with me, I told them, I said, hey, you know what? You wonder why people say this, that, and the third to Khai Morgan. Like, the lady was like, look, she stopped the whole show and she said, let me talk about Khai's fashion.
Yeah.
And like I told them, I said, hey, you got to dress for the job you want. I am already comedian.
Right.
I want that next level. I want to be able to be Steve Harvey, have my own show, or have this fashion line, or have this, or have that. Absolutely. I can't have it if I'm dressed like how I am. I gotta dress like how I want to be. Right. So when they say, hey, you know what, let me interview, hey, I'm already ready. I'm already suited for the part.
Absolutely.
And I tell a lot of comedians that, just like my son, I tell my son, stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That's it.
So
that's it.
See, that's why we do this show. You know, we get these jewels from other people. You know, we tell you a lot of things between him and I as we have conversations on the show. We say a lot of different things. You know, through the first season, but we said, you know, we're going to start bringing people on the show so that they can hear some of the things, because we have these conversations with people all the time.
Yeah, you know, don't just take it from our point of view. I mean, there are other influencers out there as well, and they know what they're talking about, and we share, you know, like ideologies here. So
yeah, because we had a conversation prior to, you know, just taping this, and it was just conversations, and conversations are so important.
Right.
They are.
They're so important in helping you try to get to where you're going, try to figure out where you're going. It's a lot to it. So, you know, a lot of what he said today, I mean, it's crazy, because it's like having had that conversation so many times with other people.
Right.
And now you guys get to hear it, from somebody that, that's doing well and continue to trying to do better.
Exactly.
And that's what our show is about, men trying to be better. So, I mean, he's a perfect example.
So Khai, you mentioned, doing the shows and doing your own shows. Can you tell us a little bit about the business behind, creating your own shows and putting that together? Can you elaborate to us?
The business is like anything else. It's like, whether you have a suit line, pocket square line, sock line. The reality is you have to figure out your supply. You have to figure out your demand.
Right.
You have to figure out the demographics of where you have your supply and demand.
Absolutely.
The reality is, like with us, we created what's called a 2-city, 1-state tour. A lot of people would say, hey, you're crazy for doing it. But the reality is, one thing about comedy, people love to laugh, regardless of what it is. And the thing is, you have to be able to realize what your demographics, and you have to realize your people market. A lot of times we as people say, hey, people go support this and they go support that. But you have to let these people know how appreciative you are. Mm-hmm. Like we do Raleigh tonight. Matter of fact, we're doing TJ's Nightlife tonight. And the thing is, those people come back month after month after month after month. And it's not the drinks. They're not coming back for the drinks. They get the drinks anyway.
Right.
They're coming back for the fact that the appreciation, like with me as a host, I'm one of those type of people that I'm so humble that when I come in the door, I stop everything. I don't speak to my people that's paying me. I don't speak to the bartender staff. I go around, I speak to every single individual that's in there, and I say, thank you for coming out. I'm comedian Khai Morgan. I'm the host. Because I want them to have the understanding, to be so comfortable, to understand that, hey, you know what? Let me take this comedy hat off for a second, and let me let you know I'm a person just like you.
Right.
And I'm appreciative that you spent your money here. Because you could have took your money, you could have spent it at the movies, you could have spent the money at another facility, you could have spent your money anywhere, but you chose to spend it here. So let me show you how appreciative I'm at.
Right.
And the same thing with the event that we do on Saturday, which is, like I said, the second leg of the tour. Mm-hmm. What I do with that is I'll inbox people. I'll take the time to inbox them, and I'll talk to them directly. I don't inbox them and say, hey, thank you for coming out. I'll inbox them and say, hey, whatever that person's name is, I'll speak directly to them. And that's how some pastors do with their churches. You got these mega churches, pastors don't know who you are.
Don't know who you are.
But these smaller churches, pastors know directly who you are. They come to the hospital, and when you're sick, they come to the house if you don't got no food, and they feed you. And that's how we're doing. We're
becoming part of the community.
Right. We're becoming a part of the community.
Social hacking.
And we're showing these people that, hey, you know what? No matter how big I am,
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I still relate to you because I am you.
Right.
And I know how you feel.
Right. And that's so important. That is so important. You never want to look down on someone.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that, and keeping in the spirit of that's what we really believe in with this show. Just because we do the show, this is just one part of what we do as a business with Bowen and Creech. We really believe in trying to make better men out here. What we're seeing, it's not right. It's not where we're supposed to be as men at this point. These young guys, just in Chicago alone, these young guys are killing themselves over and over and over again. And then you got guys that are coming out of prison. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know where to look. They've got some programs out there that kind of, they help them along the way because they turn them loose. So when I go, and I don't know about you, but when I go turn on the TV, I don't see us represented on a regular basis. I don't see us talking about what to wear to an interview or what the latest fashion is for men. And I don't see that anymore.
And it's funny. People are so freak with things these days. Like on Instagram or Facebook, you have the live function where you can go live and you can talk to people and you can bring people in and chat back and forth. They have a feed going on. Just today, I was talking to a young lady, and she was showing me some things on Instagram. I was just trying to, I understood Instagram, but I was trying to see if there was something else that I had missed. These young kids, they're constantly in there, Snapchat, Instagram, things of that nature. I said, okay, go in there. So she went live, and then she was showing me all the live stuff, and we were in there, and both of us was on there, and she was like, oh, you can do this and do that, you can pin your line, and she was just going. And then someone wanted to come in live to the feed. And I was like, oh, go ahead and bring them in, let's see. And we brought them in. This guy pops up in there, and the guy, he's on there, and he's talking. I said, hey, man, how you doing? He was like, hey, how you doing? And some young kid, he had like tattoo in front of his head, some other stuff going on. And then he smokes a blunt right there on the live. I'm like, I said, is that a beanie that you're smoking there? And he was like, nah, man, you know. I'm like, it's just amazing the level, just to, you know, illustrate what you're saying and what people are doing these days, and the younger people are doing these days. Because, you know, you tell this guy, he's not that old, but he's just so open with that, you know, nothing else going on. I'm just going to pop in, I'm going to smoke a blunt, you know, in front of you, and I'm going to talk whatever I'm going to talk. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. I'm like, man.
But that's because of the culture and
he was in Detroit, by the way. That was Detroit.
But then you gonna send
you're gonna send you, so you're gonna just send the people out there getting them arrested. Anyway, but it's the culture, man. It's like people have become what they see on TV, and TV has made it a comfort zone. I mean, like if you look up now, you realize that there's so many states that have legalized marijuana.
Right.
There's so many states that have legalized this, that have legalized that. Like if you go to New Orleans, you can go to New Orleans and literally get your drink and walk on the street and drink it. You know, and the thing is this, it's like when you make certain things popular, it makes it the norms, you know. Like for instance, I'm 37 years old. When I go back when I was 7 years old or 10 years old, it was frowned upon to have holes in your jeans. Your mother would beat your behind. You got holes in your jeans. I spent all this money. Now we are buying jeans that are already destroyed.
Right.
And they're $100.
Yeah, they cost you money.
Like these, you know, and it's the culture. It's what we make the norms. Like for instance, if you think about it, 5 years ago, nobody would smoke weed on a camera because they knew they were going to jail.
Right.
You know, now it's like it's common.
Right.
It's like I'm doing it because it's normal, and that's the thing. The thing is, we gotta shake up what's normal. You know, like I tell a lot of guys get intimidated when they do a show with me. They like, oh, why he got this suit on? Why he dressed like this? But what they fail to realize is this is my comfort zone. And when you change what's the comfort zone, then you change the demographics of the people. Like I tell people all day long, if we put both our cars side by side, and the police decide to pull over both cars, who they gonna let go? You got your t-shirt on, and your t-shirt say, F the world, don't ask me for nothing. I got on my suit. Mr. Morgan, have a nice day, be careful. This individual might have a degree, I ain't got no degree. But they're gonna take him to jail because of the fact that a fashion statement. We have to be mindful of what we're setting and what image we're portraying. Like I tell my kids all day long, my kids wear suits, and they're young. But it's because of what was set forth for me. This was the standard for me. I'm going to make it the standard for you. Now, if you choose to follow it or not, that's on you. But I'm going to put it to you. See, a lot of times we don't portray what we want people to slay.
And the power of perception.
Right.
Power of perception.
It's a big thing.
It's a very big thing.
Not to mention, you know, when we get together or whatever, we go out, we got our own thing. We do things our way. You know, people ask us all the time, why is it that y'all be up in the spot with shades on, or why y'all, why?
I was gonna ask y'all that, because I was like, the last time I seen you, I was like, ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Why do they have on shades?
That's it. We have on shades because people have all those little sayings where they be like, well, my future is bright. We don't do all that. The reason why we wear shades is because something that we did. We started this, God knows, years and years ago. And what it was truly just about the fashion of it.
Yeah, just being cool.
Now, most of the time, you will probably never see us in the club with pitch black shades on.
No.
We have variations. So if we're in there, right? We've got on some lighter shades or something that we like shades, and we used to kind of hang out a whole lot. Yeah. Anyway, but when we did it, we were on. Somehow we just got on the same page.
I didn't know. I swear I said maybe they got their eyes dilated. They had the show must go on. So I was like,
no, we've just always been kind of in tune in those facts. We used to wear hats to the club, shade. I mean, that was just our thing, and it just kind of evolved. So you kind of leave certain things But those shades, y'all get used to them. They're not going anywhere.
And be honest with you, it was a part of us, and why should we betray you by not sharing who we really are? So it's already a part of us.
It's a trademark. At the end of the day, you have to brand yourself. And like I tell anybody, brand yourself. Like when you see a Khai Morgan, like one thing I've learned, like shouts out to my uncle, which is Uncle Tone X. He taught me, like I used to wear plain color socks. Plain color socks. If I had on a blue suit, had on blue socks. But Tone X taught me certain things, like me, like for instance today.
Are we all covered?
Got your Freddie Krueger socks on. Okay, so he always taught me to make sure that your socks was important, because one thing he said, and this is Tone X's words, not Khai Morgan, when the pants leg goes up, the conversation goes down, and it makes a lot of sense, because if you put a plain pair of socks as opposed to a socks that's a little bit busy or has a little bit of distinction, a woman is going to more than likely gravitate to that person with the busy socks as opposed to the plain color socks, because she knows that he took a little bit more time to figure out that sock.
He's a little extra.
Yeah, he's a little bit extra, but at the end of the day, let me talk to him because he's got a little bit of designer to it. So.
And that, hey, look, fellas, like we try to talk to you guys about fashion. He's giving you good advice. You're talking about these women. You're trying to get up on these women. These are pearls. These are jewels that we dropping for you. We dress like this. This is our business attire. This is our show. This is what we do.
It's the same thing I told you in the 101's video on pants lint. Yeah. You never know what you got up under the hood. You could have a hot rod up under the hood. You never know.
But it's important to always find for us, and he said it, find your brand. Even if you don't have you don't have to be a comedian, you don't have to have a talk show, you don't have to find your brand. You are your own brand. You're your own best brand.
You'll feel it.
Just that little bit extra, change your life.
Yep, sure would.
Anything else you want to ask, Kyle?
No, I was going to say that comedian question for last, but we already covered that. Good comeback, good explanation on all that as well. I like that. You get a little history behind it. No, I think I'm good.
So what else you got coming up, Kyle? Let everybody know what else you got coming up.
Got a couple of different things coming up, man. Like I said, the 2-city, 1-state tour every first Saturday, first Friday. Raleigh on first Friday, Greensboro on first Saturday. You should see me coming up soon on America's Got Talent. So look forward to that. Just being blessed, man. Just doing what I got to do. My kids, we created a reality series called Kai's Kids. So we're doing a lot of different things, man. And just staying focused, mentoring comics. Just making sure that I'm living up to the potential of what God has me to be. So that's just me. And like I said, hopefully one day having a fashion line for height challenge guys, because it's very difficult. I mean, the 38 shorts, the 40 shorts. A lot of times we go in there, we be so excited, we find the suit we want. We get there and it's a regular. Oh, it's a regular. It's a tall that we bought out of the city. I'm gonna be honest with you, it is so difficult to find that cut, and just to find that cut, whether it's yours, you want your pot, you want it to fit, or you want the pocket square, you want the colors, and the problem is, in the South, we know, with the South, it's very difficult. Sometimes you got all this boring stuff, and it's like you want this stuff that pops, but it's just enough that you can go somewhere. Like your pocket square is wonderful. Like the whole tin of the suit is wonderful. And even you, like the blue and chocolate, I'm going to steal that. You don't even know. You don't even know. When I go to church on Sunday, you don't even know. So it's like to have that look, you need that. So that's where I'm at right now, just really being able to give it to people that are in my demographics, my height, all that stuff. So,
yeah. Well, that sounds great, and of course, we probably gonna link up and connect on some things. Just people that ask us 50 million times about suits, and so we in the works on that as well. So, we have to.
We haven't got about it.
We gonna get there. Don't worry about it. We got you.
We got you.
So, well, with that having been said, go ahead and take us out. You know what to do.
Well, you know what I always like to say. There is no excuse for good taste, because we are gentlemen of style. Until next time.
Peace. My man.
I'm gonna need to see y'all dance on this one. Shorty watch, I'm gonna need to see y'all dance on this one. Swing around for me. Spin around for me. Swing around for me. Yeah. Spin around for me. Billy, you. Come on. y'all hate me